Welcome back to BLOCKTV. It's time now for Chain Breakers. And with the crypto data space at a critical juncture, with government regulators such as the United States SEC citing lack of transparency and clear data as critical to their inability to properly regulate the space, and numerous private actors accusing the space of being run by rampant manipulation. So in order to keep on top of the market and find out what the latest trends are, we turn to the experts over at Coingecko, and I speak now with co-founder Bobby Ong. And full disclosure, Coingecko has a content partnership with BLOCKTV. But firstly, Bobby, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Our absolute pleasure. Now, Bobby, to start off and get all our viewers familiar with Coingecko and your particular approach to how you deal with crypto data, can you take us in a bit of a run through of your philosophy on the crypto data space?
Absolutely. So we at Coingecko believe that data should be transparent. We should have everything that is measured in a very clear manner. So what we do with the crypto space, we've been around since April 2014, and we track over 6,000 cryptocurrencies from over 390, close to 400 exchanges, and we've been adding more and more assets and exchanges as time goes on. We believe there's a lot of issues that we want to track, and we want to first crypto data aggregator that tracks a 360 overview of the various data, such as not just exchanges, but also the developer social media stats for each coin. So, yep.
Yeah, could we possibly take a look through some of your website design and how it looks to get people to understand? Because it is a key thing that you guys do, not just dealing with the raw data in terms of market cap, which is an oft manipulated data source, but dealing with the wider issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is roughly how Coingecko looks like. We have over 6,000 coins, 400 exchanges. This is all the price. A lot of people come to Coingecko to have a quick glance of the crypto market. So we have the price that changes for the last 1 hour, 24 hours, 7 days. We have the market cap, circulating volume, supply, and market cap. And we also have like stats on developers, social, and some all-time high stats as well. A lot of people come to our page to see price, the price. This is the average volume weighted average price. It comes from the various exchanges over here, and a bunch of other information and some widgets and all in place as well. The price chart, which we can see 14, 30 days, 60 days, and so on. I think it's worth mentioning over here that we at Coingecko don't really sort the exchanges by trading volume, because we noticed there's been a lot of exchanges that's been going around putting out fake volume. So what we do is we actually have this thing called a trust score, where we actually sort exchanges based on this algorithm that we implement in-house. So you see that on our Bitcoin page over here, we have Binance, Bitfinex, 4B, Liquid, Kraken as some of the top exchanges for Bitcoin, instead of some other exchanges which are used for transfer mining, fake trading volume, and so on. As well, if we go to our exchange page over here, you can see over here, actually, there's all these exchanges. Like for us, we rank Binance as the top exchange by trust score, followed by Kraken, Bitfinex, Gate, KuCoin, follow next, Bittrex, which is sort of what you would expect to see from an exchange. And whereas for most of the other aggregators out there in the market, like they just sort based on trading volume, and you get all kinds of weird exchanges at the top. So actually, this, if you go back to this page over here, we have this thing really cool over here where we can take a look at the spread for the Bitcoin USDT pair over here. So we can see the Binance spread is only 0.01%, and the depth, this 2% plus and minus depth is basically a mention of how deep the order book is for Binance. And in this case, that it would take close to $3 million to move the order book down by 2% on Binance. And similarly, it takes more than $2 million to move it up by 2%. And some of them are even thicker, like Bitfinex, which has close to $7 million, for example. But yeah, these are some of the stats which we can see. A lot of the fake exchanges, fake volume exchanges have very bad spread and very low liquidity. And this is not the way how exchanges should be. So this is actually what we did with Trust Score, where actually we look at a bunch of various factors such as liquidity, API, technical coverage, scale of operation, crypto reserve, regulatory compliance, to basically come together and to put together this score to measure how liquid or how strong an exchange is compared to its peers.
And that's a sort of a theme that that runs through a lot of what you guys do at Coingecko. Because I notice, looking in sort of the information that you guys have on your website about your approach and philosophy to dealing with this sort of coin data, you make a point where you say that altcoin valuation often revolves around market capitalization, which is a metric that can be easily manipulated by pre-mined coins, which is why you have such a strong focus on your homepage there with the social elements, the developer elements, talking about the size of the actual communities that are involved in this. Where are the people, where the actual engagement is taking place? Can you talk us a little bit through that philosophy and what drew you to taking on that stance?
Yeah, so when we started Coingecko 5 years ago, we wanted these stats where we can measure number of social media, how big is a community, how big a particular developer is. But there were no one is doing this in this market. Everyone was sort of just talking about it verbally that my community is bigger, I'm doing more commits. Whereas what we try to do is we thought that, hey, all this thing is actually available like on the web. Like all we just need to do is we just need to go around and collect all this information from GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, and just pull them together. And this is essentially what we do. And we can see how many stars, how many forks, how many watchers, how many contributors, and how many commits that we have in the last 4 weeks. And you can see that clearly, like number of lines added and lines deleted for each repo, because everything's built on an open source manner. Like all this data can be easily tracked and verified by anybody in the market. So we can see that actually, even though we can see right from the screen that Bitcoin still has the most number of contributors. Ethereum's quite close behind as well. A lot of commits, a lot of watches, stars on the GitHub for Bitcoin, Ethereum. But the rest, let's just say they're not very high, I would say.
Yeah, certainly important to see how that developer space is critical to how the space is working as a whole, I suppose, and actually getting that picture behind, as you say, just that number that you often see at the top, whether that be market capitalization or the price as it is at a given moment. But now you guys are not simply content to keep the market as it is and as it was. You're also moving ahead as new products come onto the market. You have a brand new derivatives section, I understand, giving vital metrics for derivatives products. Can you talk us through that new product you're offering?
Yes. So one of the things that we observed very closely this year is that in 2019, we saw that a lot of new exchanges are launching derivative products. So what we did was we started putting in place all the different products, and we just launched this about a week ago. So what we noticed was that there were over 23 exchanges and more that have already started offering derivative products in the market. And if we put together all the products that they come out so far, we have over 100 different products in the market. So for example, the most popular product is the Bitcoin perpetual swap, which was made popular by BitMEX. And you see that the interesting thing is we have the 24 hours volume. You can see that in the traditional markets that the volumes for the derivative products is usually a lot higher than that seen in the spot market. Whereas in the crypto market, the volume for the spot market is actually a lot higher than the derivative market. So you see that here there's over $10 billion of daily trading volume for the derivative market. Whereas for the spot market, which is up here, we see that it's actually 57 billion US dollars. So the derivative market still has a lot of potential for growth, and we expect a lot of strong growth in the derivative markets. And it's still very early days, but we want to track and measure all these things. So some of the interesting stats that we see over here is that we instead of sorting exchanges by trading volume, there's this term for derivative markets where exchanges are sorted by open interest, which is basically the number of contracts, derivative contracts that are open at any one point in time. And by far, the largest exchange by volume is actually by open interest is BitMEX. Not just by open interest, even by volume, BitMEX is leading every other derivative exchange. This is followed closely by a lot of other exchanges such as Bybit, OKX, Deribit, and so on. We noticed that some of the exchanges are not exactly still looking to catch up, especially with the API. Some of the exchanges do not have open interest data provided by the API yet, but this is something that we would expect things to improve. I think some of the key points that I would like to take note, especially in 2019, is that we are seeing a lot of spot exchanges coming into the derivative market. So far, I'll give you a couple of examples. Like Binance made a big move by launching Binance Futures this year. And not only that, they actually made an acquisition of a smaller smaller derivative exchange called JEX. So we also see Kraken spending over 100 million US dollar acquiring a London UK FCA regulated exchange called Crypto Facilities. And we are seeing a couple more spot exchanges looking to acquire derivative exchanges and making its play in this space.
I want to ask as well, in a more general sense, Bobby, sort of talking about the sort of development of manipulated or wash trading that exists in the market. I mean, obviously we all remember back in May when Bitwise released their report saying that 95% of trading on crypto exchanges is effectively wash trading. Now, the market has since, they've released reports since then saying the market is self-correcting and improving, but you're there at the front and center of data, and obviously you have your trust score system to help get past some of that. But do you see overall that sort of wash trading and manipulative trading that exists on a lot of crypto exchanges? Do you see that trending in the right direction? Are we moving away from that sort of trading in the market? And are you optimistic about the future of exchange, sort of more legitimate exchange trading in the future?
I would say that actually the situation is actually getting worse. I would go as far as to say that the trading volume is for spot markets is almost close to not being used as a trusted source anymore. Like, because there's just so many exchanges just wash trading that the numbers just seem ridiculous. If you really want to get like real 24 hours trading volume, I think the only real way is to look at volume from regulated exchanges such as those in the US, in Japan, those licensed exchanges, Coinbase, Gemini, and those Japanese regulated exchanges. Those regulated exchanges will likely have legit volumes, whereas everyone else that are staying in the non-regulated space, we don't really know which ones are wash trading and which ones not wash trading. It's hard to say which is real and which is not.
Yeah, it's certainly an important question to be asked in the space, but fortunately we have companies like yourselves at Coingecko working to try and get around that and find solutions to understanding how to get a more reliable source on what's actually happening in the market. Bobby Ong, I want to thank you so much for joining us on BLOCKTV and helping discuss these important issues. It'll be fascinating to see how it develops into the future. In the meantime, stay with us at blocktv.com for all the latest in news and information. I'm westropp-evans. Thanks for watching.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.